Shortly after the release of City Skylines 2, I put out a beginner's guide to getting started with a city with City Skylines 2, in which I offered some tips, some strategies, some hints to help players with getting started with a city. Since the release of that video, there have been many patches to address performance issues, gameplay issues with this game. Most notably, there was a significant patch that addressed the economy, and the patch was even called the Economy 2.0 patch. And then just recently, there was another sizable patch that has come out that addressed other gameplay issues. The small patches, along with the two major patches that have been released since I came out with my tutorial, have changed the game fundamentally to the point where I feel like, in many ways, a lot of my beginner's guide to City Skylines 2 is a little bit out of date. It doesn't quite fit. There are some things that take place now. The game is a lot more challenging on the front end, the beginning of the game. And so I feel like this is a good time to revisit City Skylines 2 from a tutorial standpoint and to offer once again tips, strategies, hints on how to get started with the city. I've gotten comments from viewers who watch me when I play SimCity who say we love watching you play SimCity. We know that you play City Skylines 2, but City Skylines 2 looks like it's a lot more complex. And some people have said it even looks a little overwhelming. So what I want to do is I want to revisit City Skylines 2 from a beginner's guide standpoint. I want to get started with a city, and I want to do it so that if you've never played City Skylines 2, or if you've been playing City Skylines 2 and the patches, the updates have made it more of a challenge to get a city up and running. Or like you said, or like I said earlier, you're one of those who's been watching and you go, I think this might be a bit too complex. I want to do a tutorial in which we approach City Skylines 2 in a very simplified manner, going over just the most basic aspects of the game. I want to kind of go as bare bones as possible with getting a game started. So welcome. I'm glad you're here. But yeah, let's get started with creating a city in City Skylines 2, and let's work towards getting that city to be successful and profitable. The first bit of advice I can give you is to let the game load completely. So after this loading screen, we're going to come to the menu. But when you come to the menu over here, you see where it says virtual texturing? Let that get to 100% first. Otherwise, if you do not, it's not going to load correctly. So now we've got that green check. Now we can play the game. If you try to start the game before that virtual texturing has completed and gotten to 100%, you're going to have some graphics issues. So now let's go to new game. And even before we start building a city, picking our map may be one of the most, if not the most important decision that we're going to make when it comes to playing this game. So each map has a description over here on the right hand side. So let's take a look at this and get an idea. So each map is going to have a theme, but you can change this. It's going to have climate, latitude, buildable area, outside connections, and natural resources. For a beginner's guide, if you are new to City Skylines 2, or if you've had some struggles with City Skylines 2, a couple of things that you want to keep in mind. You want a map that has a large buildable area. That way, within your initial set of tiles, You have a large area with which to work with. You also want a map that's got lots of natural resources and a plentiful amount of those natural resources. And it's good to have all of your connections, especially you want a good electrical connection and you want highway connection, airplane, rail, and ship. But for a beginner, of course, you're going to have a highway connection. But for a beginner, this electricity connection is a really good way of getting electricity on the early end and then turning around and selling electricity later on in your city. The other thing that's important is the climate. If your beginning city, let's say you're going to be playing this city for a while, you want to make sure that you're picking a city plot where your climate is going to be favorable for you year round. What do I mean by that? So now I have all of my maps, I have them set to Fahrenheit. I believe the game comes set at Celsius, so you can make that determination. But if we were to pick, for example, Lakeland, Lakeland has a climate that's going to vary between 5 degrees Fahrenheit and 78 degrees Fahrenheit. So just know the game's going to begin in summer, but as we approach winter, if you were to continue to play this, just as you're starting to get a good feel for your city and the game, winter's going to roll around and you're going to drop below freezing and you're going to have some issues with the roads, and with those lower temperatures your residents are going to put an extra demand on your city because they're going to be trying to stay warm. So I just want to caution you, your first couple of cities, you want to stay with a climate that's going to be favorable. So for example, this, it's going to drop below freezing. Drop below freezing. Sunshine Peninsula, 52 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. So year round, you're going to have yourself a wonderful climate, and you're not on that this initial city not going to have to deal with those harsh wintertime temperatures. And it's got a nice 60% buildable area. It's got all of your connections and it's got good fertile land. So Sunshine Peninsula is a good starting map. However, for our purposes, I'm going to be looking at Coral Riches. Coral Riches does get a bit cooler than Sunshine Peninsula. However, Coral Riches has a 76% buildable area. I still have all of my connections. I may not have quite as much natural resources as Sunshine Peninsula, but it's a good trade off with this 76% buildable area. For our updated builder's guide, we're going to be doing Coral Riches. All right. If it comes European, then it's an easy, as I said, it's an easy switch to change. So any of the maps, if the map on the prior page says European, you can switch it on this page to North American or vice versa. And then of course you can make your change with, if you live in an area where you have left-hand traffic and you'd like to continue with that, great. Otherwise, I'm leaving all the defaults as is. We've disabled tutorials, unlock map tiles. We will talk about that a little bit more as we get into the city. It's easier to talk about unlock map tiles once we get into the city. So we are all set to start building and start playing our city. All right, wonderful. Look at this. So remember, 76% buildable area. So I have chosen a map that does not have within the area, the building area, a lot of mountains. The actual area itself outside of the buildable area is quite flat. Very good. So once again, we want to plan out our city before we start building. That's so critical because we're only going to have so much money to work with. I can't show you the budget because it is locked, but if you've played City Skylines 2 before the big patches, you got government subsidies. And those government subsidies really helped. You could just kind of start playing and putting down buildings and not really worry about it, because if you were having some financial issues, the subsidies would help. The government subsidies have been taken out of this game. So now these beginning steps are so important. So the first thing that I want to do before we start looking at icons and before we start planning out this city, I want to pause. We're going to start out with 1 million, but the moment we put down roads and buildings, they are going to have a maintenance cost. So even before we're ready, I do not want us losing money unnecessarily. So let's take a look at what we've got. So we've got a highway. We've got a highway that comes in to a medium road. That's all that's unlocked is medium and small. So large roads, highways, intersections, things of that nature are locked as of right now. You'll see a lot of things over here about elevation and parallel mode and snapping. Do not worry about that for right now. I want to keep this as user-friendly for a beginner as possible. There's our outside connection for electricity. This is our body of water. So let's do this. Let's do a bit of planning. Upper left-hand corner, info views. So we've got info views for roads, traffic, electricity, and water. For right now, the most important is going to be, we're going to be looking at electricity and water. Let's start with water. So we've got 2 underground bodies of water in addition to this. You see the arrows? The water is flowing in that direction. That's good to know. Underground, so you can't see it. Let's turn that off. See that? We're looking at the ground, but underground, we've got water there, water there. Right after looking at water, let's come down here. Bottom row left, air pollution. The air is blowing in this. The wind is blowing in this direction. So if you remember how important I say it is to check the wind with SimCity, same situation. We want to check the wind. This already tells me that my industry, we're going to be placing it probably somewhere over here, and then the city will be out here. If my industry is down along here, what that means is if I have a factory close to this underground body of water, that could pollute it. So I already know that we're more than likely going to cross off this body of water. But we do have a body of water here that we can potentially use. Natural resources. Let's open up natural resources. I'm going to turn off wood, fertility, oil, ore, just to make it easy to see what it is that we're talking about. If we see them all at the exact same time, it's a little bit complicated. Wood. Don't worry so much about where your forests are located. We have a workaround for that. Land fertility. We're going to be working with some specializations a lot quicker than we did with my original beginner's guide. So wherever we see this, we know that we've got fertile land for farms. Let's turn this back off. Oil, no oil in this opening city plot. There is some oil over here. So maybe, I'm not sure exactly how far along we want to go, but we may want to tap into this oil. Ore, we do have ore. And the good thing is the ore is downwind. Now that we've done this, now we have a much better idea. We need a place to live. We need a place to work. We need a place for our specialized industry. So we already can kind of come up with a game plan. Industry, potentially down around here somewhere. People living, maybe around here. Get some farms going around here. Get water. Connect to our electrical outside connection. So now, bottom left, let's take a look at some icons. Not all of them, just the ones that we need. A lot of them are locked. But do not let this overwhelm, do not let this intimidate you. Over here, development milestones. Let's look at milestones. So, as you are building a city, as people are happy, as they're moving in, as you do things, you're going to be getting XP points. XP points help you move along and unlock other things. So 750 XP, which is going to happen actually pretty quick. We will get some additional money. We're going to get 1 development point, and we'll talk about that shortly. And we're going to get 3 expansion points. Expansion points will go here. We can get more map tiles. As of right now, we cannot get any map tiles. So we cannot go outside of this box for right now. And these are the things that we'll unlock when we get to Tiny Village. When we get to Tiny Village, if it is something that pertains to healthcare, death care, garbage, once you unlock it, it becomes pretty important pretty quick. Some of the other things you don't have to jump right into, such as 5-lane roads or whatnot. But if you see, for example, small village, education, that's going to become important. Once it's unlocked and it's something like that, it becomes important. Large village, fire, rescue, police, it will become important. As you'll see, I will hold off as long as possible because we are going to be negative. There's no way around it. We're going to be negative for a while. So that's milestones. Development. So like I said, we will, each time we level up, we'll get development points. Development points, you use those in order to unlock things. As of right now, the only 3 categories in which we could start unlocking: roads, electricity, and water. Over here, city information. So we get it at a glance, but there's more information here. So right now we see that there is a demand for low density residential. There is 0 demand for medium and high. There is demand for commercial, demand for industrial, no demand for office, and office has not been unlocked, just like high and medium density has not been unlocked. Policies are locked, so let's not even worry about policies. These are our zones. So we've got residential, we've got low density waterfront. All the others are locked for right now. We have commercial, we have industrial, and over here we've got specialized industry. This is new. You had to, prior to some of the patches and the updates, a lot of these were locked. As you can see, livestock, grain farming, forestry, and stone mining are already unlocked and ready for us. We're going to jump right into a specialized industry. This is unlocked, but we're not going to worry about areas. We already talked briefly about roads, small roads, medium roads. We are not going to dive, if at all, into a lot of this information. This may not even come up in this beginner's guide. This may be a separate video at a later date. Electricity, water, all of these are locked, but this is your healthcare and garbage management, education, and so on. Landscaping, we are going to get into just a bit of landscaping when it comes to the forest. Here's our bulldozer. These things are locked. Underground, not going to worry about for right now. Our radio, event journal, followed citizens, chirper. For right now, don't worry about these three. And the only reason we'll go to the radio is there may be a commercial that we want to skip. This is your advisor. If you have a question about anything, you can click on it and try to get your answer here as well. This is a wonderful resource. So after the beginner's guide and you're working on a city, if you've got a question, there's a real good chance that your question's answer is here. We've already paused the time, the date, our speed controls. It's summer, sun's out, 73 degrees. City name, we have 0 people. Population, this is our starting money. And right now our happiness is neutral. We're not unhappy and we're not happy. It's right in the middle. All right, let's get started. Let's do this. We do not have highway. So this right here is a medium road. I'm going to continue with medium road, 4-lane road. Let's just do this. I'm going to extend this out. Now, I placed this road. You see here, we not only did we spend money, but we are now, if we were to unpause this, we now would be deducting from our funds a maintenance fee. That's one of the reasons why we're paused. All right, let's do this. We need an industrial area. Now, the one thing that I do like about Cities Skylines 2 when it comes to the roads, let's go to small roads right here. See where it says grid? Let's go to grid. I'm going to save you some effort, some time and effort. Now you see that circle, the larger circle? That shows you where the building, because if you look at, I'm going to click on the roads, look at this road, and when I click on it, you see the boxes there? That's zonable area. When I take this circle, if I build a road, my zonable area is going to be right where that circle is. So that's the reason why that circle is so important. So with that in mind, let's do this. Right about there. And let's do this. And then once I click, then we're going to see how it automatically makes a grid for us. Wonderful. And just like that, we have ourselves a grid. Let's come back to roads. I'm going to go medium. And right here, let's see how I'm with the circle. That's a little bit. I'm not going for style points. Otherwise, I would probably obsess over making that look better. But let's not worry about that. Let's go back to 4-lane, medium, and then let's just connect in a couple of areas. And then we can always make adjustments if needed. So this is my industrial area. Up here, let's do a residential. I want to be careful about let's go back to our trend. And you can see it's going to show us what our maintenance would be. And I can already tell some of these roads are a little bit off. I'm not going to let that let that bother me for right now. All right, let's do this. How about that? Now, as you can see, what I'm doing is my medium, we don't have highways, but I'm using the medium road as my main arterial road. And then we will branch off of it with medium to small roads for industry and small roads for residential. I'm not going to pay attention to the fact that it's a little bit crooked. I'm not going to do that to myself. All right, we've got that in place. Now that we've got that in place, let's talk about some things that we need. We know we need water. Remember where that water was. Let's do this. I don't think I need a medium road. Let's do a small road. Let's go back. Let's look at our water. Oh, water's all okay. Great. Let's do this. Let's do a road. And as you can see, we still have grid selected. I have to select the type of road other than grid. There. Now grid is turned off. That's just a straight line, straight road. I'm going to come all the way over. Let's go back to medium. So if you think about it, all we've done is use this 4-lane road. We've used just a basic 2-lane road, either as a grid or a straight line. Let's look at water. All right, so we've got some options. We can either get water from a lake or a river. And if you were watching me play Cities Skylines, pretty much every city that I played, I would get the water this way. We can use a water tower and get water from underground, or we can use a groundwater pumping station, and from a dollar amount and the water output, I like this option. Let's bring it over a bit, because we may eventually take this road and do something like that. So I want to leave myself space. So it's 40,000 and 10,000 a month in upkeep. So let's place that. So now we have a source of water. A lot of your buildings that you place, you can upgrade them. So when I click on it, you see that we have advanced filtering system, and we have an extra pump. And when you click on it, it shows you the cost and the upkeep. We need a place for our sewage. I am gonna do the way I normally would have done it with the first City Skylines. Let's do this. And we need a sewage outlet. Let's put that right there. If you look at the road, you'll see that built into the road is water and sewage. If you think back to City Skylines, we would have had to have built that network. I love the fact that this is built into the roads. That's a wonderful time savings. I do need sewage pipe. Let's connect this to this. And then if we turn it, you can kind of angle it to see that it is connected to sewage. All right, water, sewage. The other thing that we need is electricity. We have a connection. So we could put down a wind turbine, 25,000, 7,500 a month. Look at the electricity production, 0 to 5 megawatts. So that's not going to last us very long. We could do a small coal power plant, 100,000, 20 megawatts, 5 to 45,000 a month. Now, if it was generating a lot, we could sell some electricity. But what I want to do over here, instead of spending 100,000, we could set up a transformer station, and we could just connect to this outside connection. We will pay for the electricity that we're bringing in, but I think this is a good direction to go in. I'm going to need a road. So for right now, let's get a small road Or will we at some point? Let's get a medium road, because we may need to. Let's do a medium road down to here. And I know we're going to need, let's go to natural resources. You see that? We're going to need to get that ore. Maybe right around these two trees. Let's do this. Let's do a medium road. Let's go to electricity. You can see we're spending money, but we've got to get the city up and running. Let's get a transformer. Let's put the transformer. I think we're going to interfere. Let's look at again at our resources. Let's put the transformer right about there. Let's get a power line, power cable. Let's turn this off. Let's take this power cable to the transformer. Unlike City Skylines, we do not have to run electrical cables. That's also within the streets as well, which is wonderful. Time savings, power, water, sewage. What else do we need? We've got our connections. Let's go ahead. We need to start with our specialized industries. When we start this city, when we actually press play, I want not only industrial buildings to start forming, I want the opportunity to start our specialized industry. Let's come here. We've got some fertile land. Look at all this fertile land. Now, of course, it extends out here. We're not going to worry about that, but let's do this. We've got fertile land. Let's come to zones. Livestock does not need fertile land. Stone does not need fertile land. For right now, the only thing that needs fertile land that's unlocked is grain farming. I want to do 2 grain farms. So let's click on grain. Let's put one right about there. Now that we've placed it, I need to set up the area in which the grain farm is going to be situated. See this right here? So let's bring this down to here. So that's one connection. There's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you know you did it right when there. It looks like that. Let's do another one. Let's try to make it look uniform. Let's come out here. We've got space. I'd like to be lined up with the other farm. We're a little off. I'm going to right click, which gets rid of our last Let's go up a bit. Nope. That should do it. Nice. Come over here. Let's go back. We're going to do livestock right about here. Going to be a bit of an overlap with the fertile land, but that's fine. Let's do this. This. Now you see that circle? Now I could have built it as big as that circle. That's the radius. All right, now we've got 2 grain farms, livestock. We need to work on stone and forest. Let's do forest. Maybe we can connect. Let's bring this down a bit more. I don't think we need a medium road. Let's just do a small road. And then maybe we can go to simple curve. Let's get rid of just a bit of this. Not all of it. Let's just connect it. There. It still gave me a bit of a curve. All right, now our forest is there. But I want my forest, I want my specialized industry over here. Let's do this. We're going to go to landscaping. See where it says vegetation? On vegetation, if you look at the description, see that? Pine. Pines are evergreen, typically used for lumber. So that's a great tree to use. So if it's saying that it's normally used for lumber, let's use that. Over here, I don't want to place just one tree. I want to place multiple trees. In addition to multiple trees, let's do mature. Let's turn that off. We want mature and we want older trees. How big of a brush? See my circle? Let's make that bigger. Circle's bigger. Bigger. Let's go 400. I think that works. And how strong is the brush? Let's make it 100. And then what I want to do is I'm going to create my own forest. Nice. Now, let's get forestry. And we may at some point do 2 of them, but for right now, let's put forestry right there. One, 2, 3, 4. And remember, if it changes color, we know we did it correct. Wonderful. See that slight brown box there? Great. Forest, livestock, grain. There is another one, and that is stone mining. Look at that. Medium air pollution. See that? No air pollution for forestry or the farms, but stone, medium. Now remember, we've got some fertile land, not fertile land, we've got ore over here, nothing over here. Stone, one, great. Stone, forestry, livestock, 2 grain farms. I want to get some people in before we set up industry. Now, to make the city look as natural as possible, I'm going to start my low density out here, and then we'll move up in density a bit as we move in. That way, the center of my map is going to have the bigger buildings. So let's do this. Let's go to our zones. We could even out here. So let's do low density out here, and we can do it in a couple of different ways. You can do fill, you can do marquee. Let's say you wanted to use the marquee and you wanted houses of different sizes. Maybe a 3x5, and then maybe something like that. Or what I'm going to do at this point, I'm just going to fill. Along my main road, I want commercial. Let's do commercial. Let's do commercial here, and then we'll see how the demand goes. Let's set up some industrial. I'm just gonna fill. Let's fill out here. Industrial, commercial, residential, low density, water, sewage, power, specialized industries. I think that's it. Once we hit play, we can look over here and we can see how well we're doing. You can also see that by placing roads and buildings and whatnot, we're already at 618 of 750 XP. We're going to be hitting that XP here very, very soon. So as I said, the first couple of levels of XP happen quite quick. All right. Let's start. Let's see how we are meeting the demand. Look at that. We're building, look, 25 XP, electricity network connected. Look at that. Residential dropping, industrial dropping, commercial is not dropping. Actually, commercial is going up. So we didn't zone quite enough for commercial. Let's do here. Let's see what happens. Still going up. We know at some point we're going to have residents. Let's put it here. We know we're going to have residents probably along there. Now it's dropping. We've taken care of low density residential, industrial. Look at the commercial dropping. Nice. Nice. And we are building. Milestone 1 unlocked. Tiny village. So once again, we got money, development funds, expansion points. These are the things that we've unlocked. Healthcare, death care, garbage management are important, but they also cost money. We're going to take care of garbage, but we're going to hold off as long as possible on healthcare and death care. What we don't have to hold off on is a vegetable farm. Let's pause again. I think let's do another road. Let's do a small road, straight line. We may not even need all of this. Let's just stop it there. Specialized vegetable. Oops. There, that's better. Vegetable farm. Garbage is important. I don't want to wait too long for garbage collection. Now, 2 more icons just became visible here. We also got the economy icon. We got statistics as well. So a few more icons, and we got map tiles. Let's go to garbage. A landfill, 70,000, 15,000 monthly upkeep, and they're not small. Hopefully this is sweet. Let's take up as much space as possible. There. All right, let's talk about this. We have map tiles that we can unlock. We can unlock 3 of them. When they did the big updates to Cities Skylines 2, you now have to pay not only to purchase a tile, you have to pay to upkeep it. I do not agree with that. For the purpose of the beginner's guide, I left that box unchecked. You can check that box, which unlocks all of these. You still pay for them, but you don't pay the upkeep. But that's a bit of advanced for what we're doing. We'll pay for them, but that's the reason why we're not upgrading and purchasing more map tiles. We're going to be very careful about map tiles that we purchase. Budget. Look at that. We are earning very little compared to what we are spending. Revenue. This is what we're bringing in. This is what we're spending. Do not let that scare you. We will get it turned around. It just takes time. We're going to avoid at all costs, unless it's absolutely necessary, we're going to avoid loans. For right now, we're not going to worry about taxes. What we are going to do, not for electricity and water, but for roads, the budget for roads, let's just drop it a bit. We don't have healthcare and death care yet, but when we do, let's drop that a bit. Garbage management, let's drop. Every little penny is going to help us. The production is going to be nice when we can see it. We can't see it right now. Wonderful. Good. Statistics. I'm not going to worry about statistics. I think statistics might be a notch up from what we need to worry about right now. Right now, I just want to get the city going. Now look at this. Medium density. We're getting some medium density demand. Let's click on residential. We just unlocked North American style row houses. Let's see what this is probably going to be more than what we need. I'm going to click this and let's watch what happens with this. Okay, let's unpause. It's going down. I saw just a bit of a blip for low density residential, but we already had a lot of that zoned. Great. Development. We have one development point. In my earlier guide, we went in a completely different direction. Now that we have to be more fiscally responsible, I want to show you something. Let's go to healthcare. Let's go to death care. The only thing that is unlocked is the cemetery. I need space. The cemetery is huge. The cemetery costs $114,000 and my upkeep is close to $26,000. The crematorium costs more. However, the crematorium has a lower upkeep and doesn't take up as much space. I'm going to come here. I'm going to take this one development point, crematorium. I'm going to unlock it. So we used up our development. We'll get more, but we used up our development point. I'm not going to place anything. The residents will start to complain. That's when we will start placing those items. Look, we're getting some industrial demand. Let's do that. There's a little spot here. Let's do that there. Maybe some industrial there. Let's see what happens. Oh, industrial demand just went down. Good. And then the other thing that you can do, you can click on this and see how people feel. The reason we do not have low density residential demand is we have some unoccupied buildings and we've got some people that are not exactly happy. See that? That we do have jobs, but we're not quite checking all of the boxes for people to want to move in. We will. Medium density, same thing. Commercial. As of right now, we're good there. Industrial demand. Local demand, good, but we do not have high skill labor availability. We also don't have labor availability. Look, medium density is starting to rise again. If we go here, happiness, it will show us +9, spacious homes, -4, unreliable healthcare, +1 wealth, +1 abundance of leisure time. So we'll start addressing that. Medium. Let's get more medium. The only thing that we have access to from a medium standpoint. Let's do that. As soon as we placed it, population increase, happiness increased. We got more XP. Our next step is small village. And we're on our way to small village. We'll get more money, more development points. We can get more tiles if we want, which we're not going to worry about. We can do textile fiber farming. Education will be unlocked. And the production panel, which I would love to take a look at. But we're on our way. Look at this. Looking good. Looking good. We need more demand. We need that textile. We need ore. We need things to start happening to get to the point where we are turning this around. Because as of right now, look, at one time, remember there was nothing there. Now it's starting to grow a bit. We're bringing in 43,815, but we're spending 89,912. Got to be patient. It takes time. See this where it says subsidies, 0. We are no longer getting government subsidies. That has been taken out of the game. Otherwise, we would probably be in the green. So this is why it's so important to take your time, get that nice gradual start to the city. But yeah, we've got a real good start going. Real good start. So we will continue on with our city, building, growing, developing. At some point, people will start complaining about health care and death care, and we'll start working on that. But for right now, we're just waiting for some more demand. There's nothing wrong with speeding up to kind of spur that along to make time go quicker. But this is where we are, waiting for more people to move in and waiting for that very last minute of the placement of health care and death care. Yep, looks good. Looks good.